and they will do it. Maybe one day they run to this town and make renovation of existing medical infrastructures and put some mercy into it. This is something we are saying. There is no deliberate effort made by the company to alleviate the suffering of the people in this area.
Okay, sir, on the way to the palace, we see that the road has been eroded as a form of erosion.
It's part of what the Shell company would have done. They work in the area, they tap oil from the area. They were supposed to have, if they have not done anything, make the good road around to the palace of itself. But they've not done. Now think of the community.
Sir, is there anything government should do? Why is it that the government is not being indicted, whether it's the oil company?
Well, I can't answer that, but I felt that the government who invited the oil company and licensed them to operate in this area should query them for not taking care of the citizens.
Meanwhile, the oil companies see the problem as having been caused by irresponsible governance at the federal, state, and local levels. Indeed, successive governments since the late 1970s have done little or nothing in the Niger Delta by way of social amenities, infrastructure, and manpower development. Mr. Osakeo Alalebo, who works in the community affairs outfit of the Shell Petroleum Development Company, comments on the role of the oil companies and the government.
Well, I work in the community liaison outfit of the Shell Petroleum Development Company, Nigeria Limited. And I tell you, it's a very frustrating work in the Niger Delta. Now, a lot of accusations have been leveled against oil companies. And to some extent, it's true that these companies in the past especially have not had that level of sense of social responsibility. Now, the reason for this is very simple. The government makes the laws for these companies and they operate within the confines of these laws. And these laws spell out their roles and their responsibilities. Most of the money that comes out from the Niger Delta by way of crude oil goes into the coffers of the federal government. And the understanding is that the government will put in place the necessary infrastructural and manpower development initiatives that will ensure that these communities are well taken care of. But over the years, the government has collected the money and abandoned its role completely. If you go into some of these communities, you will weep. And in the past couple of years, since 1990, since the early 90s, the oil companies have been doing so much, providing hospitals, school buildings, teachers, providing roads, water, you name it, giving scholarships to students from these places. And I would like to advise any company that wants to come into Nigeria, especially to work in the Niger Delta as an oil producing company, to be ready to play this role. Because you find that Shell operates all over the world. And yet, the amount of money Shell spends in Nigeria in communities is far more than what Shell spends in all the other countries put together on communities. Because in those other areas, the government fulfills its responsibility. And the whole matter is worsened by the fact that in Nigeria, the host communities receive nothing directly from the oil. The royalties, the rent, everything goes to the government. So it has really aggravated the situation. And after working there with the communities for a number of years, since 1996, I've also come to realize that part of the problem may be spiritual. You know, we have a lot of churches in town, but very few in the rural areas. And so the light of the gospel has not gone in there. And sometimes there was a brief period where the companies, just put money into the community, into their hands, believing that the money will be well spent. And I tell you, millions of naira You go back after 2 months, there is no sign to show that such money has entered into such places. How do you account for it? The money is wasted on drinking and marrying wives and all kinds of things. So I think that in a way, life in the Niger Delta is tough for the communities because of the environment and the expectations, based on the income, the coming in of the oil companies. It's justified, but unfortunately it has not been so. But in recent times, both the government and the oil companies, I believe,